In English Content 1, we went over the top skills you'll need to answer the punctuation, the grammar, and the sentence structure questions on the ACT. In this episode, we're going to talk about the next 3 question types you'll see: strategy questions, style questions, and organization questions. Let's take a closer look at those 3. So let's take a look at the top strategy questions you'll see on the ACT. First, we'll look at transitions between paragraphs, and next, we'll talk about questions that require you to add evidence to the passage. Let's first look at a passage, and then we'll look at the corresponding questions. In addition to gains from direct sales to visitors, many indirect benefits are realized from tourism. Visitors contribute to the tax revenues collected and can influence the quality of life by financing community facilities, such as swimming pools, golf courses, restaurants, and shopping facilities. So that was paragraph 2, which we know from the little square on top that has a 2 in it. Now let's go to paragraph 3. We've got a box here, so we know we're going to have a question that asks something about the preceding paragraph or the passage as a whole. And we'll get to that question a little later. For example, the need to provide services to tourists creates new jobs in the community. Another box question, probably a question about the preceding sentence, but we'll see that in a minute. Although they may not be high-paying employment opportunities, these jobs satisfy the need of students and dual-earning families for part-time or seasonal employment. Okay, so let's take a look at some questions that correspond to this passage. First, we've got a transition question. When placed at the beginning of paragraph 3, which of these sentences would provide the best transition between paragraph 2 and paragraph 3? And we know it's a transition question because it's got this word transition, and it's asking us to connect the previous paragraph with the next paragraph. Let's take a closer look now. We know that first paragraph was talking about some indirect benefits of tourism, things like contributing to taxes, stuff like that. And then we've got 4 examples starting off the next paragraph. So probably even when we first read it, you kind of had a gut sense that it just didn't sound great. You need something introducing the paragraph before you say, for example, and keep going. So what would be the best sentence to put in? Well, let's take a look at these answer choices. A says, tourism offers other indirect benefits. That might work. Let's read it back in and see. So we've got our list of some benefits, and then we go to our next paragraph. Tourism offers other indirect benefits. For example, the need to provide services to tourists creates new jobs in the community. That sounds pretty good. We talked about some indirect benefits up here. We're connecting it down here. And then we've got some examples of more indirect benefits. Great transition. Just to double check though, we can shop through the other answer choices. What about B? If they become permanent residents, they will contribute even more to community taxes. So how does that work as a connector? Not great, right? Because the next sentence, for example, the need to provide services to tourists, is still talking about tourists. So we don't want even to talk about permanent residents just yet. Let's cross that off. What about C? Another thing about permanent residents. If the community is a pleasant place, visitors may become permanent residents. Still not great, because we want a transition that's still talking about the benefits of tourism. Okay, and what about D? Sometimes, however, tourism can be a drain on community resources. That's talking about